And I am here live with some fellow chairs of other Democratic parties in South Carolina. Uh, I'm not going to introduce them directly. I will let them introduce themselves. So going around, and we'll start with you, Tamika. So let's start with your name, what county you're the chair of, and a little bit of what you do when you're not doing Democratic Party stuff.
Okay, my name is Tamika Michelle Wilson. I am the Union County Democratic Party chair as of last year, so brand new in the seat at the convention. And when I'm not doing Democratic Party business, I am volunteering in way too many Union County community type of events. So I think I may be stretching myself a little thin, but I care about what happens in the county that I live in. So I feel like I'm taking the expertise that I've gained over my 20 years, 5 months, and 8 days in the military. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel, so I figure continuing service is kind of the thing that we do in our family. So I'm happy to do it.
Are you native to Union, born and raised?
No, I was born in Frankfurt, Germany. My dad is retired Army, Sergeant First Class. He was Signal NCO, and I'm an engineer officer. So it's definitely in our blood, lots of military throughout our family. So
I can barely tell the German accent. That's incredible.
Was ist das?
Yes, I have a lot of them. I like sauerkraut too. All right, Angela.
Well, my name is Angela Jeter. I am the Spartanburg County Democratic Party chair. Like Tamika, I am a veteran as well. I did not retire. I just served a few years in the military, and my background is accounting and finance. And I'm currently studying for the CPA exam, and I started an accounting consulting firm. So when I'm not doing that, as well as like Tamika, I'm volunteer and I'm on several boards within the community. So I am very active, and I have a little fur baby.
Oh, what kind? Dog or cat?
Dog. I'm a dog person. Mother's allergic to cats. So little Jack Russell Terrier Chihuahua mix. She's about 11 pounds.
Right.
And she thinks she's about 211 pounds.
We have a teacup Yorkie that's the same way. She thinks she's 10 times the size she is. Well, for those of you in Union and Spartanburg that don't know me, my name is Bill Kimler. I'm the chair of the Greenwood County Democratic Party. And as you can probably tell from my accent, I am not native to these here parts. I am a transplant from upstate New York, moved down here in 2016. And I am in the IT business, software development. I work for a global company. So I deal with developers in Israel and consultants in California. And I'm talking with people in Germany and England all the time. In fact, my boss is in Germany. So I'm going to have to take some lessons from you, Tamika, on how to communicate more effectively with him. So that's what I do when I'm not sharing, full-time job. So I have a series of questions that I'd like to throw out to the group and get your answers on. And I'm going to start with an easy one. And I'll start with you, Angela, and just ask, why are you a Democrat? Have you given it a long, hard thought and you picked being a Democrat? What led you to this party?
Well, I felt like it was the party of inclusiveness and a party that was for everybody. There was a time when I know those roles were reversed and Republicans were more in line with the values now that Democrats have and vice versa. But I felt like the Republicans had gone very 1%er on me. And since I'm not a part of that 1% and their target, that's what their target seemed to me to be, and it didn't address the needs of me as an African-American woman. And that was why I chose to be a Democrat, and I have always voted Democrat and been a Democrat.
Awesome. How about you, Tamika?
Well, I have a younger sister, and I went Army, she went Air Force, and promptly got out. So I'm just saying.
Hey, my son who just finished college is heading into the Air Force.
Yeah, but she likes to tease me that on paper I'm like the classic Republican, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, then you show up in the room and they're like, wait a minute. And I'm like, no. Interestingly enough, I identify as an independent. So, there was probably some consternation that I, put my name in the hat to be the chair, but I was willing to do the work. And, I would say 90%, probably 95% of the things that Democrats believe in, I believe in. But the key thing that I really have a problem with is kind of the blanket, we all lockstep to the tune. So that's probably, after 20 years, 5 months and 8 days of being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, to a certain extent, it just doesn't seem, a good fit for me. So I think independent, caucusing with the Democrats makes sense for me.
Yeah. When I was raised in a very strict Roman Catholic family, Italian mother and German-Irish father. And, I was an altar boy, went to Catholic grade school through high school. So you talk about marching in lockstep and indoctrination. I was there. And I remember I went off to college, and I'd say I was probably young Republican my freshman year, me. And after 4 years of college, now I was a math and physics major, so it wasn't like they were putting opinions about politics and policies during calculus class, but it was mixing with other people, all races, all genders, all sexual orientations. Just the multicultural aspect of it really opened my eyes, and I got a good education. Not from books, not from teachers, but just from other people and other life experiences. And I think since then, Tamika, for most of my life, I would have classified myself as independent as well. I always voted for whomever I thought was the most qualified. I voted for John McCain that first time around. I thought Barack Obama was a good guy, but he seemed like he was 22 years old, and I wanted somebody with experience as my president. I was nervous about this Sarah Palin person, but I like John, and so he got my vote. 4 years later, I was all in for Barack Obama. I thought he had done a fantastic job in his 4 years. So I agree with you on the independence drink. We should not be of an identical mindset, but 95%, I'm on board with the Democratic way of thinking, and that's just where I am.
There might be a lot more of us that are in that spot.
Yeah.
But you feel like you have to choose. You're in this environment, they want you to choose, Yeah. And I don't know if that is where we need to be at in the United States. Obviously, with all the dissension and the it's like we can't get to the common ground area.
Right.
And
in fact, the first presidential vote I ever cast was for an independent. Any guesses on who that was? Famous guy. Ross Perot. Ross for boss. Yes. Yes, I was in college at the time, and Ross Perot was making his waves, and that is for whom I cast my vote. I just thought he was just kooky enough to do a good job, and I wasn't enthralled with Clinton or Bush, and yeah.
Well, I'm probably not your typical Democrat in that I do look at candidate, but I will more likely than not look at the Democratic candidate unless that Republican has something to offer. Really, really has something to offer, then they'll get my vote.
Yeah. Well, that's good that we can keep open minds and we don't, demand that everybody be in perfect lockstep. So being a first-time chair, what would you say was your biggest challenge? That's specifically because you were a first-time chair. So you got to take out the coronavirus because everybody was dealing with that and the pandemic and all that. But just the fact that you're a first-time chair, what was the most difficult thing for you? Now, I'll start off on this one. Probably most difficult for me was the transition. There wasn't a playbook that was left to me, or hey, here's all the things you need to know. A peaceful transfer of power and all that. It was a lot of figuring things out, figuring out who's who and where's where and what's what and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. I think kind of learning as you go. It could have gone a lot better, I think, if there had been a better transition. What do you think, Tamika? What was your toughest challenge as a first timer?
I think the transition, and we had a lot of good people who were entrenched, if you will. I don't want it to be a negative thing, but you kind of get used to the status quo. And, folks didn't necessarily want to move, want to change. And I know I was, a radical change, I think, because I'm coming in with the mindset. I think my challenge for me was to take the military hat off, because I'm used to telling people what to do and operating in the space that I am no longer in the military, and all of us are volunteering our time.
Yeah.
So it really became a lesson in collaboration and consensus, and picking through individual skill sets to see where they fit in, how can they contribute to Union County Democratic Party. And the one thing that I think has been great, and you're probably going to ask that question next, is the team that coalesced after I was elected really stepped up. They really stepped up. And hats off to our committee and all of the volunteers who really said, okay, we're ready. We're going to support you, and we're going to support Union County. So it became very obvious that we had the right people in place going forward. So
yeah. How about you, Angela? How did you fare in your first year?
Well, I had a little bit more time in. I actually got elected in 2018. So I had been in place, but I do understand, because when I came in, it wasn't an easy transition. We had no money in the bank. We had no headquarters. So many of the pieces that were not there. And I had to, unlike Tamika, I had to deal with some people that weren't sure they wanted a Black chair.
You're kidding.
And that was something that threw me. I wasn't prepared for that. But I'm the first time they've ever had a Black female chair. And there are still some of our older Democrats that are not sure how they feel about that. So they haven't really participated in the party at the level that I thought that they would. And so it has forced me to look at, the composition of our volunteers and a lot of things that we do. Like Tamika, there's a little, there's chaos being a party chair. No matter how hard you try, there's going to be some chaos. But I need a little bit of organized chaos. And that was the part where I got a lot of pushback, because they were like, well, let's just do it by ear. No, we can't just do it by ear. We need to put some plans in place. There's some, some basic foundational pieces that I felt like needed to be there. So, doing all of that prior to the election kind of helped a little bit. But here's what they don't tell you. There's a big difference, and you're going to find that out in 2022 between a presidential election and an off-presidential election year. And it's going to be two different energies. This time around, we didn't have to do a lot to get people to at least get involved in the process, but you're going to see a totally different mindset as you prepare for the 2022 elections, where people are like, oh, it's not a presidential year, so I don't concern myself with that. Or, people that have just said, well, I don't really want to participate right now.
Right. Well, listen, we're getting towards the end here, believe it or not. The time has been flying, so I'm going to have two more questions for the group. Share with me one thing you are extraordinarily proud of in your term as chair. What's the one thing you would highlight in a political advertisement at some point in the future?
Wow. I think my fundraising. When I came in, we kind of had some events that were kind of so, and I kind of came in and pushed the envelope, and actually had started doing something that no one else was doing in South Carolina, and that is I started doing galas. where you do the formal dress up with the, the whole penguin suit and all. And we have been very blessed. I mean, our first speaker was Congressman Swalwell, who was just about to announce he was running for president. And then we went, he was our first. Then we had Governor Deval Patrick.
No kidding.
So, yeah, we aim for the stars. So, yeah, we've been very fortunate to be able to do those events, but being able to actually fundraise where you're bringing in thousands of dollars with just one event it takes a lot of pressure off.
How about you, Tamika?
I think it would be our visibility and exposure. We really worked hard to be responsive in a COVID-19 environment. So we had to change how we did business. So we did outdoor get out the vote voter registration drives. And we partnered with small businesses in our community who probably would have been suffering had we not basically brought folks to those venues. So, and, every time we came, we ate, if it was a restaurant, and most of them had some sort of outdoor service. And we had a outdoor get out the vote voter registration drive, meet the candidates block party in last October. And it's something that's never been done in Union County, to my knowledge. And as a result of that, we had vendors outside. We were able to we actually located right in front of the courthouse at a historical Black building, the L.W. Long Community Resource Center. And people were like, wow, you guys are doing a lot. And my mantra to the team was, I want somebody to come up to you and say, I'm tired of seeing the Democratic Party. And we succeeded. We're like,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I know I've been seeing your activity on Facebook, and I've definitely stolen some ideas from you. Just the sense of urgency to be out in the community. We're not just a social club that meets once a month. We have to be out doing the work and the business of being Democrats. And sometimes it's food drives, sometimes it's voter registration. It's got to be out. I think that's something even I look up to you about, and try to reach Union's level. If we get there, we'll be good. For me, with COVID and the fact that a good portion of our membership is of an older age and the most at risk of the pandemic, we had to shut down all activities, indoor and outdoor, for the most part. So we went purely virtual, and just trying to keep that sense of normalcy, having our breakfast meetings on the first Saturday of the month and continuing that tradition, continuing to have Zoom social calls, just so we can get together and chat on a regular basis. But I think the pinnacle of that was our annual fundraiser in October is called the Carnell Drummond Mays Dinner. In fact, we added Dr. Benjamin E. Mays to the name of our annual dinner last year because he's a Greenwood native, son of Greenwood, and just a national figure in history. But we had gotten the idea watching our friends in Oconee County. They did a virtual dinner 2 months prior, and we thought it was good. And me and our committee, we kicked around some ideas, but then we saw the Democratic National Convention and just how they pulled it off. And it was more than just, here's a bunch of speakers, and have a good night. So we took kind of that emotional spirit of the Democratic National Convention and turned ours into a virtual event, all pre-recorded, but it was 2 solid hours with over 30 speakers participating in one form or another. Not just giving speeches, but participating in narrating the history of Benjamin Mays, or participating in the Pledge of Allegiance, or singing a song, the national anthem. Over 30 different people participated in this gala event online that I look back at it today and I still get shivers. We even stole a clip from Obama's campaign. That phrase, fired up, ready to go? That originated in Greenwood, with Councilwoman Edith Childs, and Barack Obama had created a whole advertising campaign featuring her in Greenwood and him talking about Greenwood that just really brought everything and gave us an emotional lift those final month before the election. All right, so to wrap up, and by the way, this has been fantastic. Thank you. I'm having so much fun with this. I want to do a quick lightning round. Ready? So this is just questions and answers with no explanations. So I've got 3 lightning round questions. We'll start with Tamika. I just want an answer, and then we'll move on to Angela.
Okay.
All right. So Tamika, your favorite president in American history?
Obama.
Angela?
Obama.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be unpopular. I'm going to pick FDR. As a student of history, he's my personal favorite. I think it would be Obama from a personal level, but he didn't face a World War II, so I got to give the edge to FDR for that. All right. Second question. We'll start with Angela. Imagine Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico become states, but we had to lose another state in the process. Which state would you lose?
Mississippi.
Mississippi is gone. Okay, for me, it's bye-bye Florida. You could become a resort area, but you're out of the country. Tamika, what state would you lose?
I used to live in Jacksonville, so people are gonna hate me. Bye, Florida.
All right. We're like minds. All right, last question, and I guess I'll answer this one first. The Equal Rights Amendment is finally about to pass, but it requires you to do one of the following. I'm going to give you 3 options. Which one would you pick and go with in order to get the Equal Rights Amendment to pass? Would you, A, attend a MAGA rally in full MAGA gear, B, throw an anti-mask fit on an airplane, or C, speak at an upcoming Proud Boys rally? You had to do one of those 3 in order to get the Equal Rights Amendment. Which grenade would you throw yourself on? Now, for me, I probably would attend the MAGA rally in MAGA gear because I'd blend in with everybody and probably would not be seen. All right, Tamika, what would you choose? MAGA rally, anti-mask fit, or speak at a Proud Boys rally?
I would, I'm going to wear my mask, so that's not going to happen. And the Proud Boys are cray-cray, crazier than MAGA, so I would be full red gear MAGA. Oh, make
all right,
great again.
I'll save you a seat next to me for comfort. Angela, which one are you choosing?
I'm doing the anti-mask rate, man.
No.
Hey, if you don't plan on ever flying again, that could be a good choice. That's just one and done. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me on this. If anything, I hope it helps humanize us. I mean, we're just flesh and blood like everybody else. We don't have any magic powers or any special training in this world to be leading a county Democratic Party. We're volunteers just like everybody else. Right?
So says you, sir. So says you. We're superheroes. We need to start talking like that, okay?
Well, I never got my cape, so you let me know when the cape handouts.
Thanos up in this piece, so we're like superheroes.
And I think we're all committing that we don't plan on being chairs forever, and that there's going to be hopefully more coming down the pike to replace us. But I am committing here on record that I'm going to do everything in my power to help whoever succeeds me. Now, they don't have to agree with everything I did, and they can feel free to change it all up. But I'm going to try to hand to them on a silver platter as much as I was able to learn and do these few years, because we only grow over time, and we're all standing on the accomplishments of those who have gone before us, including me. This party survived only because of my predecessor. He took the job when nobody else would. So we are only where we are because of him, and I want to just try to put us in the same position when I go.
Amen on that one.
All right. Well, I wish you all the best. And thank you for coming to spend some time with us. And I am at your beck and call should you need me for anything as well.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Take care.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.